Okay, so get ready, because today we are going deep into the psychology of cheating.
Ooh, juicy.
Right, but we're going way past those surface level explanations, you know.
Right.
We're doing a deep dive on a blog post. It's called The Cheating Chronicles. Insecurity, Narcissism, and Why It's Never About You.
Okay.
And it's by a blogger who calls himself Meinem Cern.
Catchy.
And let me tell you, this blogger, they do not hold back.
Oh, good. I mean, it's a topic that needs to be talked about, openly and honestly.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so often we try to understand cheating through blame, right? What did the other person do wrong?
Yeah.
But this blog, it makes us flip that script.
I love that.
Yeah.
And they just jump right into this idea that, cheating, it actually comes from the cheater's own insecurities, not some flaw in the person being cheated on.
It's a fascinating paradox. You'd think someone who's super secure in themselves, they wouldn't need that outside validation, But so often it's cheating is a way to try to make up for deep feelings of not being good enough.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's trying to fill a void with these fleeting connections.
So it's they're looking for a quick fix, for their self-esteem.
Yeah, like a Band-Aid on a much, much deeper wound.
Oh, that never really works, does it?
Not really, no. And this blog just hits at home, you are not the problem.
Right.
It's not about you not being enough.
It's so funny you say that.
Yeah.
Because they actually mentioned Beyonce in this blog post.
Oh, stop! No way!
I know, right?
Queen Bey.
It's if Queen Bey can get cheated on, then it proves that literally anyone can.
Right. It really highlights that.
It's not about, your looks or your success or anything like that.
Yeah, exactly. Infidelity, it's rooted in the cheater's own issues.
Yeah.
Not in the shortcomings of their partner.
And that kind of leads us to those common excuses we hear, right?
Yes.
Everybody does it. It's just a phase. Come on.
Oh, they make me cringe.
I know.
They dismiss the pain and the betrayal like it's nothing, It's just a way to downplay how serious it is and avoid taking any responsibility.
Oh, for sure.
Sadly, though, these excuses, they contribute to this culture where cheating is basically normalized, which is so damaging.
Yeah, it's like saying it's no big deal, but anyone who's been through it knows how devastating it can be.
Absolutely. It shatters trust. It leaves those deep emotional scars.
Yeah.
So instead of just accepting these flimsy excuses, we need to promote a culture of honesty and respect and accountability.
In our relationships. Okay, so we've talked about insecurity, but this blog also brings up narcissism as a factor in cheating.
Okay.
So is that always the case?
That's a great question.
Yeah.
Not all cheaters are narcissists, of course, but there are definitely times when infidelity is a symptom of some deeper narcissistic tendencies.
Okay.
Narcissists, they crave admiration, control, a sense of power, and cheating can feed all of those desires.
So they might be more likely to manipulate people.
Yes.
Or exploit others to get what they want.
Exactly. And they lack empathy and have trouble taking responsibility for what they do.
Oh, wow.
They might even turn it around and blame their partner for driving them to it.
Right. You made me do this.
Exactly.
So how can someone spot those red flags early on? What are some signs that someone might be leaning towards that narcissistic personality type?
Well, one of the biggest red flags is an inflated sense of self-importance.
Okay.
They may be constantly seeking validation and attention and have a really hard time handling any criticism.
Got it.
Another sign is a lack of empathy. They might just dismiss your feelings or have trouble understanding your perspective.
So it's not just about being a little self-centered.
Right.
We're talking about a pattern.
Yes, a pattern of behavior.
That disregards the needs and feelings of others.
Exactly. And it's important to remember that this is, a spectrum. Having a few narcissistic traits doesn't necessarily mean someone has a full-blown personality disorder.
Okay, yeah.
But recognizing these patterns early on can help you set boundaries and make, informed decisions about the relationship.
So this blog, it doesn't just diagnose the problem, it actually gives advice.
Oh, that's good.
For both cheaters and those who've been cheated on.
Okay.
It's not about pointing fingers.
Right.
But it's trying to navigate this mess.
Yeah. I like that.
Yeah.
That's good.
So what does it say?
Well, it acknowledges the hurt, you know, and it encourages those who have cheated to really take a look in the mirror. Like, it's not enough to just apologize, you know?
Really?
You need to understand why you did it and actually actively work to change those patterns.
Which can be really tough.
Oh, totally.
Like, face those uncomfortable truths about yourself.
Yeah, it's definitely not the easy way out.
Yeah.
It takes real courage and self-awareness to acknowledge those deeper issues.
Yeah.
Maybe even seek professional help, you know?
Right.
To unpack those insecurities or
Right.
narcissistic tendencies.
And for the person who's been cheated on,
yeah.
the blog's advice is all about, like, reclaiming your power.
Yes. Like, don't let someone else's actions define your worth.
It's so important to remember that you are not responsible
Mm-hmm.
for someone else's choices.
Absolutely. Their actions are a reflection of them,
Yeah.
not you.
Yeah.
And your value does not, like, diminish just because somebody else betrayed your trust.
So it's almost like you have to relearn to trust yourself,
Yes.
to trust your instincts
Yes.
and your judgment.
Absolutely. And it's a process, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, healing from infidelity takes time,
Yeah,
self-compassion,
yeah,
and a lot of support.
for sure.
It's about rediscovering your worth and recognizing that you deserve
Yeah.
to be in a relationship that's built on respect
Yeah,
and honesty.
absolutely.
This blog, like, really pushes for walking away from a relationship after cheating.
Yeah, it's not about, condoning the behavior or, like, trying to fix the person who cheated.
No, not at all.
It's more about recognizing that sometimes the healthiest choice is to just leave
Yes.
a relationship that's not serving you anymore.
And that takes a lot of strength,
It does.
especially after going through something as, like, emotionally intense as infidelity.
For sure.
It's about, making your own well-being a priority, your emotional health.
And this blog, it even mentions this study.
Oh, really?
Okay, so this just blew my mind.
Okay, I'm ready.
It found that people who stayed in relationships after infidelity,
Yeah.
they were actually more likely to have anxiety and depression later on.
Wow, that's a serious wake-up call.
Right. It's like trying to force a relationship to work after,
Yeah.
such a breach of trust.
Yeah.
It can really be harmful in the long run.
Absolutely. Sometimes, like, the most loving thing you can do for yourself is to walk away and create space for healing and growth.
It's interesting. The blog kind of connects the personal experience of infidelity to, like, a broader cultural context,
Oh, interesting.
Like, how often do we see cheating portrayed as, like, casual
Right.
or even, like, glamorous?
Yes. In movies.
Yeah, in TV shows.
Oh, yeah, it's everywhere.
Right.
Popular culture often just, like, minimizes the pain and the consequences of cheating.
Totally. And that can make it harder for people to, like, really grasp how serious the issue is.
Yeah. And seek help when they need it.
Yeah, it's almost like we've just become desensitized
Yes, I think so.
to the emotional impact.
Yeah, we need, like, a cultural shift in how we view and talk about cheating. It's not just a mistake and a phase.
It's a serious breach of trust.
Yes.
And it can have, like, lasting effects.
Yeah, and the blog talks about that emotional pull.
Right.
Like, self-care and support are so important for those who have been cheated on.
Yeah, because healing from infidelity is a process.
It is.
It takes time.
Patience.
And, like, a lot of self-compassion.
Yes, and allowing yourself to grieve the loss of that relationship. Reaching out for support from friends, family, a therapist.
Like, there's so many layers of healing that need to happen.
Absolutely.
There's the emotional healing, but then there's also rebuilding trust.
Yes.
In yourself and in potentially.
Right, in future relationships.
Yeah.
You're right. It's like rebuilding trust can feel like such an uphill battle. It involves open communication, vulnerability, a willingness to be patient with yourself.
With your partner, if you choose to stay.
Yes, exactly.
It's like trying to piece back together a broken vase.
I love that.
It takes,
Yeah.
so much care.
Patience.
And a lot of glue.
Glue.
But even then, like, the cracks might still show.
Such a great analogy, and it really captures that fragility, of rebuilding trust, and it emphasizes that healing. It's rarely linear.
It's not a straight line.
No, there are setbacks,
Yeah.
moments of doubt, and probably some lingering pain.
This whole deep dive, it's made me realize how important it is
Yeah.
to set clear boundaries
Boundaries, yes.
and expectations in relationships from the very beginning.
Yes, you're right on.
Yeah.
Like having open and honest communication about what cheating is essential.
Yeah.
It's about defining those boundaries together and making sure you're both on the same page.
And it's not a one-time conversation.
No, you have to keep revisiting those boundaries. Yeah.
As the relationship changes, right?
Absolutely. What might have seemed acceptable at one point might change as you both, grow.
Well, it evolved.
And evolve. Exactly. And as a couple.
Yeah.
It's like those regular checkups you have with your doctor.
Oh, yeah.
You wouldn't wait years to address a health concern.
Right.
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 So why wait years to address potential problems in your relationship?
I love that. Yeah. Regular communication and check-ins can help prevent those small issues from turning into big problems.
Exactly. But even with the best intentions and communication, sometimes life throws curveballs.
It does.
Right.
Relationships they're complicated.
They are so complex.
And there's no foolproof method to prevent infidelity.
Unfortunately not.
But that doesn't mean that we can't learn from the experiences of others and try to build, healthier, more resilient connections.
Exactly.
Well, how do we do that?
That is the question, isn't it?
Yeah. How do we as individuals and as a society work towards building relationships where cheating is less prevalent?
I think it starts with being open and honest about what we need, what we expect, what our boundaries are in our relationships.
It's about creating a culture of respect and empathy.
Where we truly value each other's feelings and prioritize emotional well-being.
Yes. It's about moving away from a culture that normalizes or trivializes infidelity and instead promotes accountability, personal growth, and genuine connection.
Yes. I love that.
And maybe even challenging those norms that portray cheating as glamorous or exciting.
Absolutely. We need to change that story.
Yeah.
And focus on building relationships based on trust, respect, and mutual fulfillment.
This has been a lot. I feel like this deep dive has really illuminated all the complexities of infidelity, but in a way that makes it feel, less taboo.
I agree.
We're actually talking about the psychology behind it, the cultural influences, the struggles people go through.
That's the power of these conversations, right? We move away from just judging and shaming and start to approach these issues with more understanding and empathy.
Absolutely. And speaking of understanding, this blog really emphasizes that cheating, it's about the cheater.
Yes.
It's not about the person being cheated on.
It's such a simple message.
Right.
But it can be so hard to really believe when you're the one who's hurting.
Yeah, you get so caught up in self-blame and questioning your own self-worth.
Absolutely. Yeah. But it's like the blog says, someone else's choices, they don't reflect your value.
You deserve to be with someone who chooses you, that respects you.
And honors their commitment.
Yeah.
That's something to hold on to.
Right.
Whether you've experienced infidelity or not, it's about knowing your worth and setting healthy boundaries in all of your relationships.
So as we wrap up this deep dive, I'm wondering, what can we do to create a real shift in how we view relationships and infidelity?
That's a great question.
We've talked about communication.
Yeah.
And setting boundaries.
Right.
But is there more we can do personally?
I think it starts with being really mindful of the messages we're sending, both, the ones we mean to send and the ones we don't. Yeah. Are we contributing to these harmful ideas that make cheating seem less serious?
Right. Are we modeling healthy communication and boundaries in our own relationships?
Yes.
It's we have this responsibility to challenge those norms.
Absolutely.
That make light of cheating, make it seem glamorous,
We can start by having honest conversations with our friends, family, partners about the real impact of infidelity.
And we can call out those harmful tropes we see in movies and TV shows.
In the media.
Right.
Yeah. And choose to support those who have been hurt by infidelity instead of blaming them.
Absolutely. It's about building a culture where honesty and respect and emotional well-being
Right.
are actually valued.
Yes, and remember,
Yeah.
healing from infidelity, both individually and as a society, it takes time.
It does.
It's a journey of self-discovery,
Yep.
forgiveness, and learning to trust again.
This deep dive has given us so much to think about.
I agree.
This blog post by Mindcern.
Yeah, it's really interesting.
It wasn't just about, the why behind cheating.
Right.
But how we can move forward and build healthier, more fulfilling relationships.
It's about realizing that we all have a part to play in creating a culture where love and respect and trust are the foundation of every connection.
So to our listeners out there, we'll leave you with this thought. What steps can you take today?
Good question.
Cultivate those values in your own relationships.
I like that.
How can you contribute to a culture where honesty and empathy and genuine connection are at the forefront?
That's a great takeaway.
It's a journey for sure, but one worth taking.
Absolutely.
Thanks for joining us for this deep dive. And remember, you deserve to be in relationships where you are cherished and respected.
Yes.
Until next time, keep exploring, keep questioning, and keep diving deep.